Hey everybody, it's Rachel. Hope you guys are all doing okay. So today I'm going to continue with Tiny Bunny. It's in the second part. I have a choice to make about where I'm going to head. I think I'm going to try to open this door just to the left of me here. There's a little door under the stairs. Yeah, we're going to keep going, see where it leads us. Alright, let's get started. Alright, perfect. Here we go. Okay, yeah, let's open this. The dark, stuffy closet. Mom says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. And Oya can't even be lured close to it. She thinks Baba is living there. I tried to help her fight her fears once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp so she would see there was nothing but cobwebs, Dad's tools, and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. And I'd like to hide in the closet and list Oya count outside. 1, 2, 3, better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Okay, let's go see, okay, what is this in the top corner? This little eyeball. What's this eyeball do? Okay, well, let's go to the kitchen. Oh, wait. This. Oh, you can click on things. Okay. Mom's peg top, a family relic. My mom played with it when she was little, then she gifted it to me. Oya was next in the succession line. The toy belonged to her now. She stared at the dancing spindles as if it could show her something. A fairy tale, or maybe even our future. Now even my little sister was a bit too old for the old squeaky peg top. Interesting. Is there anything else over here? Ooh, my parents prohibit me from making long-distance calls, but from time to time I really want to hear my old friends. Sometimes I would just pick up the phone, listen to the low hum of the zoomer and the distant crackling, imagining the wind howling and the isolated chords. That's sad. I feel like that's such a struggle in moving. This cross had seen so many people come and go into this house. It was black as if it absorbed all human sin from the long years it was hanging under the ceiling. After Grandma died, Mom was going to take it off and hang a horseshoe in its place as a lucky charm, but she cut herself with a cross-sharp corner and almost fell from the stepladder. Dad called it a sign from above and ordered the cross to be left alone in its rightful place. That's fair, I'd probably do that too. I'm superstitious as hell, so... Ooh, if you click on... Anton, get your hands off the phone! Okay, damn. Okay, interesting. Alright. Front yard or kitchen, and let's do front yard. Anton! I'll whip you if you make a single step out the door. Alright, so not the front door. The kitchen, then. Alright, so anything over here? Let's look at the radio. Radio. Emercom of Russia has declared the state of emergency due to adverse weather conditions. According to the weather forecast, a cyclone is moving toward the region. Expect heavy snowfall, blizzards, and snowdrifts on the road. Keep your eyes open and take care of yourself. Okay, what's this? I took a peek at Mom's crossword. She would get very angry when someone gave her advice, so me and my dad faked knowing the answer and being about to reveal it all the time. I smiled at that fleeting thought. Vertical, 9 letters, the name of the Philistine deity that protected them from viper bites and had a nickname the Lord of Flies. Second letter is E. I feel like that's going to be important. And I do not know it. Okay, let's look at the magnets. Okay, the side of an old ocean freezer was checkered with my childish drawings. Mom's recipes and all kinds of stickers for bubblegum with dinosaurs that Oya likes so much. Among that still life picture hung a piece of ruled paper with the phone number of the police officer who visited us. First Lieutenant Tikhonov. I read inside my mind looking at the officer's sprawling handwriting. A scrap of paper was held by 2 pieces of a broken magnet from some old Soviet toy, and those pieces just barely covered up the numbers as if to taunt me. I leaned toward it to unveil the mystery and take the piece to a safer place where it would wait for its time when I would finally find Vova and be the first to call the police with the happy news. Anton! Mom's reproachful eyes stared at me. What do you need it for? Hands off, you'll lose it. Angering my mom was the last thing I wanted, so I lowered my hand. The decrepit and stain-covered calendar was once my favorite form of entertainment in Grandma's house. I remember waking up and running to the kitchen so I could tear off yesterday's leaf first thing in the morning. as if the coming day would get lost in the tug of forest without my help. One day closer to New Year's, one day closer to Grandma's funeral. I haven't touched this calendar for years now. Since the time they started writing dark and spooky death chants that only made me gloomy instead of funny proverbs and superstitions, to be exact. Interesting. Okay. Sadly, the spooky descriptions from my childhood were still there. 7 horses carry the log. If 7 can't carry, bring the 8th from a ferry. They will take it away and never come back. This is the fate the log cannot escape. I crumpled the gray leaf and threw it into the waste bin, hoping to get rid of the anxiousness that washed over me. It was spreading inside me like an ink stain on blotting paper. It was difficult to lie to Mom, but there was no other way for me to run away from home. Mom, something's wrong with the TV. The picture is dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. Oh, you're killing me here. So have you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Told you the kinescope will go dim because of your console. We'll only find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings? Please go see for yourself. Strange, it worked fine in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it. Mom rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olia's room. Gotta click on everything. Okay, open. Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olia there, but now I could only see meat bits for soup and clumped together pelmeni. I know what pelmeni is. I grew to hate them already. Is there anything? No, that's it? Okay. I guess I should grab whatever's on the fridge that I needed. Okay, Senor Lieutenant, Tagoda, Yep, okay. Alright. Now that she's upstairs, I guess I will go outside. Ooh, scary. Okay. I opened the front gate and went into the field. Carefully, so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed the half of the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmare to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears. Distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me. Okay, I just have to pause. I love the birds flying in the background. It's so pretty. It adds like such a nice touch. And a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent, I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olia. This time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olia turned to stone, listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together. Almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Olia present, she would always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke up, and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead, cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home. The eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything. And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered into the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into the ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest, or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, When I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitt. It looked like a wonderful bird among the hungering semi-dark. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? Their senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Me, always anxious. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? Booba! I heard a distant shout. Looked like it came from the river. Booba! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Booba! Resounded closer to me. I get no idea if that's the right pronunciation. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Booba! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground. Its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. Oh, I hate that. Ugh. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment, but when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all? Silence reigned for a painfully long time. My muscles were tightly sprung. My heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Oh, I made a horrible choice. Oh, I just wanted to see what would happen. Bova? 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 I don't know. Oh, don't do it. Oh, run. A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I changed my mind. Just don't get the mitten. I stepped toward the bristly trees and tried to calm my mind. It didn't budge. I pulled harder. The branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy. Wet. I squeezed it without thinking, and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. Oh, this is horrifying. I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of cracking branches evaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'm struggling so much right now. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can't do it. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot. A wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried-up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became viscous like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole and my soles were on a hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump and from there ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave way. Good. Stress. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it in between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it the last bit of strength I had left my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me. I thought. I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Look over there, at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratch at the door, just like in my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window, facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs! Just a small pack of strays with no name and odor, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me like a bunny. And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attack Olya? Mom? I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive. Huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And what for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course. A dark and sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mom. Mom, look, this is Boba's mitten. The boy that the police were talking about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on the tree. I could show where. Let's call the police right away, like the officer had told us to. Mom, look. Ew! A shadow of doubt slowly crept onto my mom's contorted face, as if she was trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but their images slip away. Stop at this moment. Oya will go insane if she hears you. She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time. And you joke around like this? At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, who cried Wolf. Oh, don't just stand there. Come take your pills. A golden-colored pill reminiscent of a dead wasp fell onto my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Wolf's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all, just like the forest monsters and Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Oh, that's the worst feeling. Like feeling like you're crazy. Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything all right? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer, and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor while he was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to her other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink, and studied my reflection in the mirror like I was trying to solve one of those spot the differences puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar's and Lago's voices died down. I walked past Ollie's bedroom and slipped into my own. I still don't know what this does, but one of the drawers was empty. I hid the policeman's phone number along with him in there. This simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed, and only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The room's corners bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, just like a savant of sorts. Olya? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried-up lips. Yeah, Olya, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there. Not a human being. I reached toward the curtains. But beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a child woven from light. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, just... Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked, You stole something and hid it here? Are you a thief? What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind black trees? Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. Then show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone, then I'll show you. Olya wore a plotting smile. I swear on Mom's heart. An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we watched. Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like it was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it and got lost himself. Now you do understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? He must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. Yeah, right. Flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later, for me? I changed the topic, as if trying to get Olya as far away as possible from the forest thicket. We may get a reward if I go and find this boy myself. A lot of stuff, like in Field of Wonders. Sounds cool, right? Olya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense. An owl won't be able to lift a human. But you know that. I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's, how should I put it? It's cursed or something. Just like in a fairy tale? No, not like that. More like in that spooky tape Mom and Dad are hiding from us. Olya shivered and stole a glance at the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you? No, it's just I was hurrying back home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in the tower. Can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I would wish for on my next birthday? I'd wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children so we could go and play together like we used to. Yeah, and if you'd make them all as small as bugs, we could place them into a little box. Olya giggled and tucked at my sleeve. Tony, let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue went over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. I'm too tired. I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone, and Mom is always busy. We could pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? And so much happens after that. Let's go. Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know. Let's play hide and seek. No, Olya. Then draw me a dino. Olya, please. Draw it. Will you leave me alone already? I blurted it out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken aback. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that. Olya stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, her precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olya from crying. All right, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. I come up to her, put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Watch Peter Pan. Boo, you'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't, and I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! Triceratops. Well, close enough. Olya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just how you like it. All right, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Want to bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Look for it. Olya disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. All right, so that seems like as good a place as any to stop again. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, Please hit the like button. You know, subscribe if you want to see more. Subscribe. Don't know what that means. Subscribe. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks for watching.